Steve here again, and welcome back to the channel. Today I have a very special episode for you. It's about Elvis Presley and about the time that I actually saw Elvis Presley. Elvis Aaron Presley was born on January 8, 1935 in Tupelo, Mississippi, into a world grappling with the Great Depression. His parents, Vernon and Gladys, were a young couple, and Elvis had a twin brother, Jesse Guerin, who was sadly stillborn. A loss that undoubtedly shaped Elvis throughout his life. The Presley family's life was marked by hardship and resilience. Vernon faced legal troubles, and the family often relied on neighbors and government assistance. In 1948, they moved to Memphis, Tennessee, and it was there, immersed in the city's rich musical landscape, that Elvis began to find his voice, drawing inspiration from gospel, country, and the blues sounds of Beale Street. The legendary story of Elvis's rise began in 1954 when he recorded a song at Sun Records in Memphis. That song, That's All Right, caught the ear of producer Sam Phillips, and the rest, as they say, is history. By 1956, Elvis's unique blend of musical styles and stage presence captivated audiences and ignited a cultural phenomenon. His early appearances, particularly on television, sparked both adoration and controversy. In 1958, despite being at the height of his fame, Elvis was drafted into the U.S. Army. He chose to serve as a regular soldier, not seeking special treatment, which earned him respect. He completed his basic advanced training at Fort Hood, Texas. From October 1958 to 1960, he was stationed in West Germany, and during this time he met Priscilla Ballou, the young teenager who would eventually become his wife. While serving in Germany, Elvis was promoted to sergeant and received the Good Conduct Medal. He was honorably discharged in March of 1960. His time in the military showed a side of Elvis that hadn't been seen, a young man willing to serve his country, even as a global superstar. Upon his return, Elvis's career took off again, solidifying his status as the king of rock and roll. He starred in 31 films, many of which produced hit songs like Can't Help Falling in Love and Return to Sender. He also recorded numerous albums and singles, landing an impressive 18 number-one hits in the U.S. Now let's talk about his personal life, specifically his relationship with Priscilla. They met when she was just 14 and Elvis was 24 in Germany. After a long-distance relationship, Priscilla eventually moved to Memphis to be closer to him, and they married in Las Vegas on May 1, 1967, in a small private ceremony. Their wedding was unique with just 14 guests, but followed by a press conference and a champagne breakfast to maximize publicity. Priscilla was 21 and Elvis was 32. Less than a year later, their only child, Lisa Marie Presley, was born on February 1, 1968. Tensions grew over time, although their early years together seemed happy. Priscilla's memoir, Elvis and Me, revealed that Elvis exerted control over her life, even discouraging her acting aspirations. Despite the challenges, they remained close even after their divorce in 1973. Afterward, Elvis had several relationships that gained notable attention. The most prominent of these were with Linda Thompson. She was Elvis's female companion for about 4.5 years. They met in Memphis in 1972, and their relationship lasted until late 1976. And it was in 1976 that I saw Elvis perform, and I'm going to tell you about that now. But it was on July 23rd, 1976, at an Elvis concert in Louisville, Kentucky. My mom and some friends of hers who she worked with in the factory got tickets to see Elvis in 1976, and one of the ladies fell out at the last minute, and I was able to take her ticket and go to the show. At the time, I was 20 years old, and I hadn't been to a lot of concerts, so I went with them to the Elvis concert. At the time, Elvis was considered to be kind of a joke because he was overweight. Johnny Carson had made a joke about him being fat and 40. Even the newspapers ridiculed him very severely about his weight and the fact that he didn't make the kind of music that they thought maybe he should make something contemporary to compete with Elton John and the Eagles and the popular groups at the time. But Elvis kept touring because he needed the money. A lot of people depended on Elvis, and he didn't want to let them down. So he would do these shows, and to keep doing them, of course, his personal physician maybe gave him some things he shouldn't be taking. And I don't think Elvis ever thought of those prescriptions as anything bad for him. but they certainly were. So this was July 23rd, and I think the tickets at the time for the Elvis show were like, they started at $12.50, and I think the cheap seats were $7. I don't remember what I paid, but I wasn't really close up. Some of the photographs I'm going to show here are from a website put together by Hunter Goatley. Now, Hunter had been at that exact same show, and I found his website some years ago, and his photographs, though maybe not the best quality, kind of captured what it was like at the time to be at an Elvis concert. I remember Elvis, there was a comedian that opened for him, and they sold a lot of souvenirs and things like that at the show. Elvis was a seasoned performer, and he came out and he did a good show. He kind of rushed through his medley of songs that he had made famous in the 50s and 60s. Elvis had a song out at the time on a record. It was a kind of a minor hit. It was called Hurt. And he sang the whole song. And when he was finished, he said to the audience, "You want to hear it again?" And so then he sang the whole song all over again, which I'd never seen anybody do that before. Anyway, he did a show, and, his wasn't a long show where the Eagles might be doing 2 hours or Elton John 2.5 hours. Elvis barely did an hour. And so when he left, see, I had never been to an Elvis show before. So that when they announced Elvis has left the building, I thought, what, no encore? But this was like a thing with Elvis. He just left. And, in today's world, making fun of someone who's a little on the heavy side, like they did Elvis at the time, that would not be correct today. And, Elvis tried to stay fit. He practiced karate, and he had a handball court at his house there in Memphis at Graceland, and he tried to work out as best he could. But, between his age and the things that his doctor was prescribing to him, it made it hard on the system. And there seems to be a subgenre of YouTube channels now based on things about Elvis, and like the Spa Guy and Ashley's Adventures, to a couple that come to mind that are pretty good. So the last time I saw Elvis on that July evening in 1976, it was about a year before he died. And yes, he was a little on the heavy side, but he was still a fantastic performer, and he could really, really sing. And now, the rest of the story. Ginger Alden was Elvis's last serious girlfriend and fiancée before his death. They started dating in 1976 and became engaged despite a significant age difference. Alden was the one who found Elvis's unresponsive body when he died. Sadly, Elvis's health declined in the 1970s. Elvis Presley died at Graceland on August 16, 1977. He was only 42 years old. The official cause of death was heart failure, though prescription drug abuse is widely considered a contributing factor. Reports also indicated health issues, including an enlarged colon and chronic constipation. If you ever visit Elvis's home in Memphis, when you go through the front door, look straight up. That's where Elvis ended up, on the floor of his bathroom directly above you. Sadly, in January of 2023, his daughter, Lisa Marie Presley, passed away at the age of only 54. Her death was initially reported as cardiac arrest. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office later determined the cause of death to be a small bowel obstruction, a complication from bariatric surgery she had years prior. Lisa Marie's passing was a devastating loss, reminding the world of the Presley family's enduring legacy. Elvis Presley's impact on music, film, and popular culture is undeniable. His music continues to be played and enjoyed worldwide. He remains an iconic figure, forever the king of rock and roll. Some years later, I was actually in Elvis Presley's house. Can you imagine that? Graceland in Memphis. I'm sure many of you have been there, and I visited his grave in the side yard there in true hillbilly form right beside the pool. And it's quite an experience if you haven't been down there. And if you have been there, let me know in the comments, did you actually see an Elvis Presley concert? That I'd like to hear about. Well, this was a long one. Thank you. Thank you very much for watching the whole thing. And I'll see you again next time, unless I come to my own sad ending.